Well, countdown pending. We're throwing chairs at Hitman Go, the definitive edition from Squeenix Montreal. It's developed on the Unity engine. You can pick it up for around $8, or if you're in Canada, $9,837.62. What is it? Hitman Go is a simple-to-play but difficult-to-master turn-based strategy game set in a stunning interpretation of the Hitman universe, complete with boxed board games. Has some modest system requirements because it is just a Unity port of mobile game. But let's cue the chairquisition. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that Ven has caught up to what I'm saying, and it's awesome. We also got a categories of doom mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's go already. Does it make with the working?
Honda Ubuntu 1404 LTS 8150 980 powered 4K displayed box of the business. Well, you know, I mean, it basically works. I mean, it's a Unity title. They have a tendency to work, not necessarily well. And let me tell you why this one doesn't exactly work all that well. Performance is all right, but we got to talk about what constitutes working, and sometimes that's as simple as options. Well, you do have options on this. They consist of sound, music, and VSync, which you can enable or disable. Hey, look, I got a little bug. Bye. Seriously, yeah, welcome to the configuration menu, Neo. I mean, I've seen some lazy ports, but this is just like, damn, all right, let's just pull up over there. Because, I mean, there's no options for screen resolution. And more importantly, I mean, there's no sliders for sound or volume. It's just on, off. And more importantly, I mean, here's the really big thing. Resolution, maybe I can live with because you're going to play it on big picture, something like that. But if you're playing it on desktop and 4K, maybe you want to put it in a windowed mode. Well, that's not an option. Now, Pedro did point out that you can force the Unity screen of nope if you want, but, you know, if you're doing that, just put it in there. I mean, come on. I've seen some really, really shitty Unity games at least had in-game options to set resolution. So, yeah, no windowed mode, no resolution, and on top of that, no options to adjust the audio, volumes, and or sounds. You're going to get dinged a chair for working. So, 3 chairs.
I don't know. I was going to ask before you brought up the Unity screen of nope. Would you actually prefer that?
Maybe.
It's Sophie's choice. All right, on the Fedora 22 powered 64-bit Intel i7-6700K, the GTX 980 and 32 gigs of RAM. This thing ran like ass. I'm kidding. Of course it ran. It's an Android game. It's meant to run on a dual-core ARM CPU with like half a mega RAM, or half a gig of RAM anyways. And I mean, I approach mix with the working a little bit different. If I'm just an ass-stupid computer user who doesn't know anything about computer, then if I click the game, does it run? Yes, it does. 4 chairs. The lack of options, I mean, for the type of game this is, doesn't really bother me. I get your gripe, but I don't think it's enough to ding at a chair.
Yeah, saying it has an options menu is a stretch. But to be fair, the game ran great on the Steam box. And I played it on the Steam box because when I went to the store page, it said full controller compatibility. Okay, right. Let's install it, start it up. Oh, hey, it's working. It did come out for Android in 2014, but good on Square Enix for actually releasing it for the Linuxes at the same time that they brought it for the other consoles. So good on them for that, treating SteamOS as a proper console OS that it is. So yeah, I played this on the Steam box, which is running SteamOS 2.64. Which has an Athlon X4 860K overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and a GTX 750 Ti. So 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs. Makes it working.
One thing I want to add in. All right. I believe we were all unable to run it on the recommended memory settings of 2 megabytes. So
yeah, that is
2
a bit of a
megabyte
stretch.
RAM to test with.
You need at least 3 for sure. Up next is Shiny End Sounds, Ben. Now with your 2 megabytes, did it was it able to shine or sound?
It just burst into flames, son. What are you talking about? No, seriously. It's a mobile port. I believe this was originally on iDevices. when it comes to how it visually looks, let's talk about that. The players, the nondescript plastic things that are only distinguished by jackets. Well, the color, I mean, there's multiple jackets with different colors. That's it. I mean, it's kind of stylized, ageless, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't look bad, but it's not going to blow, your eye pussies out of your head organ. The dioramas, they're well done, although they're a little flat. I mean, because you basically play this in a little diorama, and it has a nice little barcode on it. And I was like, oh, nice touch, Hitman. Remember, this is Hitman, guys. Right. But well, what I'm saying is this. I mean, it looks all right, considering, this is an iPhone game that I'm playing on a 28-inch 4K displayed monitor, and it still looks all right. And there's no options like VSync or anything like that. It's like, whatevs. It wants to set sound. Fuck sound. I mean, I never even bothered to, put my cans on to listen to this. I just had a bit of Slayer playing in the background with a little bit of They Might Be Giants, because this is like something you kind of want to zone into and focus. So yeah, good job. 3 chairs.
Yeah, I mean, for a digital board game, it looks about as good as it's going to. The pieces look like actual game pieces, and the boards look like game boards. There is a soundtrack. It's this light, like, elevator music, jazz, almost. It fades in the background. It's kind of unremarkable, but it's not going to lose any points for that. I mean, it's not deserving of 4 chairs, but the game accomplishes what it sets out to do visually, so it gets 3 chairs.
Yeah, it's a sliding block puzzle game with a Hitman theme. You could literally replace the Hitman thing with anything else and it would still work. The graphics are heavily stylized, like Ben already hinted at, but all that means is the game will hold up a few years down the line, so that's good. The music, well, let's just say it's a good thing that they did include the option to mute the music while leaving the rest of the sounds on, because when that lady starts singing Ave Maria with a pitch that's even more annoying than what I just did, my ears just want to coil in on themselves. So that's thinking it a chair, 3 chairs.
To be fair, at no point did the vocalist make me stab myself in the testicles like I just did. So that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sands. Up next is Control, then.
Well, your first experience with this, if you're playing it on the desktop like I originally did, was, you pick up your YOLO swag gerbil as I knock everything down, and you realize that... I know, they're everywhere. It's kind of miserable because you have to like drag in the direction, because let's think, this was originally a swipey game. It's like, this is miserable. If I last 30 minutes in this, good on me. But what happened was, just out of curiosity and just old reflexes, kind of reach over and like poked at the Xbox controller and he slid. And I was like, oh shit, new dimension to this motherfucker. And it was. I was like, oh, well, because the X-Clone controller has like 4-meter long cable on it, so I could sit way back here on the futon and just chill out and play it. And 99.99% of the time, the D-pad on that works flawlessly. Unfortunately, the only time it does genuinely cock up that 0.1% is like, because at the end of certain levels, there'll be like the boss, which boss is like the last guy you got to nope. And you'll hit a direction, and it'll like, no, I'm going this direction. Fuck you. That's why. And you'll get killed to death. That is definitely a thing. With your controller, you have the option, because you kind of have like this Fox isometric overhead and side view of things, but you can hit it, and it'll give you a straight-up view. Pro tip, if you're looking at that Fox isometric type thing, don't Alt-Tab out of the game to your desktop, because something is miswired in your brain, and it makes it look like your monitor's tilted. I don't know what it is. Try it. Play the home game for yourself, but I generally like the overhead view. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to see around the corners, and it does have primitive camera control, but the problem I have with that is it only goes about 30 degrees, and as soon as you let go of it, it just snaps back to where it was. But it's a board game. You don't have to do a lot. At most, you're going to be pressing your A button to throw a can, shoot a gun, or play a banjo. So, nice game. 3 chairs. Don't play it with the gerbil. It's definitely a sit-back experience.
I mean, I was playing with the gerbil. It didn't even like click in my head that this thing had controller support. So I played through however much I played through the game of using the controller. And I mean, you click and drag some more. Not really much else to it. 4 chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Unity game with proper controller support. I'll be. But yeah, this is a game by Square Enix Montreal. It's not like they've been doing games for years and worked with tons of different engines or anything. There's absolutely no experience to be had in that team, none whatsoever. But yeah, I was genuinely surprised that the controller worked as well as it did, and I didn't even know about the camera rotation or even the overhead view because I didn't need it for the first 2 boxes, and I only really needed it for the 3rd box because there was a guy, I could see the top of his head just behind the wall. I was like, how the hell am I supposed to see that? So I started hitting the triggers and the bumpers. And, oh, okay. All right. That was a very good surprise. So, yeah, for controls, I have absolutely no complaints. 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for controls. And finally, we got the fun segment. Then, did you have fun?
Lads, I think this is the first mobile port, with the possible exception of Skyforce Anniversary, that did not completely suck donkey testicles. I mean, granted, this critter, it does start off hella simple, but it gradually ramps up to, oh, fuck this level. And trust me, that will happen to you. I mean, I've
less level of the 2nd box.
Rage quit out of this thing more than once. You start off, I mean, it's just dead simple. Move. Then it gets gradually, I mean, first, like the altering game mechanic is like the trap doors that you can go to, and it's like, oh, that's neat. Then you get jackets to disguise yourself, and considering this is a board game, it's like, all right, well, that's a neat mechanic. Then beyond that, you get sniper rifles taken. I was like, oh, yeah, that. Then later on, you get like the dual wielding pistols. Then it just goes haywire. I can't even imagine what box 4 has for me. Because admittedly, I'm only on the 3rd box, and I feel like I'm genuinely using my brain organ for these things. I was like, all right, let's think about this. Crap. Then I ran into the situation where I didn't know the definition of insanity. For some reason, I did the same thing like 5 times in a row, and I was like, all right, then if you do this one more time, we're just going to quit. And I finally got around to doing that. But if we're just being honest, I really didn't want to like this game. I didn't. I guess we should say Squeenix sent us keys.
Yes, they did.
They did for this game, and we kind of put off reviewing it. We were waiting for the release of Hitman, which is out, and Linux gets Hitman, but it's a fucking board game. Didn't want to like it. Absolutely didn't want to like it. But it turns out, I mean, I did. This is definitely something... I mean, it's priced right. It's not stupidly expensive. It's not something you're going to sit and sink 9 arms into at one time. This is something you can pick up, play for 10 or 15 minutes while something's rendering or cooking and like that, put down, come back. And it has that brilliant little thing that only certain games do for me is I'll be thinking, how do I beat that map? If I do that. And eventually that'll squirrel enough in my reptile brain so I'll come back, start it up, and if I beat that level, then you might play the next level after that, then you'll get to another level, and like, oh, fuck that, nope, I don't have time for that, maybe another day. But, that said, do keep in mind that this has exactly fucking all to do with the Hitman franchise. I mean, they've done Tomb Raider Go, so think about this as like Tomb Raider Go. Yeah. Same difference, but for fun... With the price, I'm going to give it 3 chairs. I mean, I'm going to continue playing this because when you have nothing to do, if you're waiting for something to do, it's good enough to pick up and just cock around with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a single-player board game. Angry Bird. It kind of reminds me of Angry Birds Hitman Edition with like the various goals and whatnot. I mean, it's all right. It's really not my thing. This game actually reminds me of a proper board game I played called Kill Dr. Lucky. Had a lot of fun playing that. But the thing I liked about Kill Dr. Lucky that I don't like about that this game severely lacks is the fact that other players can just fuck with you while you're trying to kill people, and that's what makes that fun. And really, when it comes to these sorts of tactical movement-based games, I prefer mine in the flavor of like your XCOMs or your Shadowrun Returns or your Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, if I was playing this on like a tablet or a phone, maybe I'd have a better time with this. but really it's not my cup of chainsaw. Move, die, move, backwards, forwards, whatever, die, move. Oh, I got it now, blah, 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 done. I mean, like I said, it's okay. I understand what it accomplishes what it sets out to do. I just don't particularly enjoy this type of game, so I'll give it 2 chairs.
Yeah, it's an Android game through and through. You can get through missions anywhere between 30 seconds and 10 minutes. Again, that last mission of the second box still stuck in my head. But it's well done, and really the only reason I can't give it 4 chairs for the fun is because the desktop/Steam machine medium doesn't lend itself well to this particular kind of game. If I'm slouched on the couch or sitting on this admittedly very expensive chair, I want a proper gaming experience. Hitman Go is much better when you're, say, sitting on the toilet with your tablet or your phone, especially if you had a lot of fiber to eat in the last few days and it may take you a good few minutes to get it all out. It's amazing. You can get through quite a few levels then. Every time I started a game, about 10 minutes later, I would have finished a few missions and I was satisfied and decided, since I was sprawled on the couch, I might as well just play some Grid Autosport or The Binding of Isaac. And having a game that makes you want to play other games.
Watching at home, that's exactly what he did, because I was playing some video games and I watched him go from Hitman to Grid to Binding.
Because if you have a game that makes me want to play other games, that's not exactly a point in your favor. Also, I'm not sure $8 is the right price point, but for an Android game, wait, we're talking about Square Enix. They have a $20 game on the Android Play Store. Right, never mind. 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 chairs for the fun, and if we tally all this garbage up, we got 2 chairs for Hitman Go. I'd say throw an asteroid at the end of that, just because we got 2 guys who enjoy it, and I just don't really like this sort of game. So, gentlemen, final thoughts.
At the end of the day, take that shot, because it's a little bit of addictive, Brad. It just is, and it really it is a way. I think the best way to describe this is when you sitting back. I mean, if you have a Steam box or if you have a big picture mode and a long controller, wireless, or anything like that, I'd like to call it relaxing assassinations, because it's like
relaxinations.
You know what I'm saying?
Relaxination. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the Hitman theme is purely visual. This is, as Jordan mentioned, a single-player board game. It's well done, they've boiled down the mechanics to the bare minimum, which, in its original Android medium, is fine, but on a proper gaming machine, it feels a bit lacking.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this game is not my dice, because if I'm going to be playing a game where I move around and kill stuff, I'd rather be playing D&D.